We are here with Eddie Caipo, correct?
Yeah.
Eddie is front of house. You're not front of house.
No, I'm not.
It's the other side of the snake.
That's
you are
right.
monitors for
Enrique Iglesias.
Enrique Iglesias. Is that the other one you do?
Gwen Stefani. Matchbox 20. Yeah.
Okay. Matchbox 20.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. What got you into doing actually, let's take it back.
Yeah.
What's a monitor engineer?
Well, it's a mixing engineer who is in charge of making sure the artists or band members are happy on stage.
Okay.
Just mixing sound for the artist, whoever's the performer. Yeah.
Have you always done monitors? Have you done front of house?
No, I've been a front of house mixer most of my life, and then a few years back, I started doing in-ear monitors for some particular artists who really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Sort of getting a front of house type mix in their ears, and from that point forward, all I started getting is monitor calls. So it's pretty cool though, because you're in constant interaction with the artists or
Sure.
band members. So it's a different approach than what you would do a front of house, but it's still very interesting. It's still very rewarding, I would say. You know.
Yep. Well, I mean, you've got how many artists are you mixing for on stage right now?
Well, it's 9 plus Enrique. So,
9,
but then
okay.
there's production mixes. There's
Yeah.
there's stage managers who get mixes. There's video and lighting. So
Well, you can say that front of house has 20,000. You've got 9, 10 people, but the most important people in the room.
yeah, a lot of people always try to gauge which one's more important. I feel like they're both equally important. They're just different. They're apples and oranges.
Yeah.
And front of house, you're doing one mix for a lot of people, where here you're doing many mixes for many people.
Well, monitor engineers is a very tough gig, especially to be able to have the relationship with the artists.
Yeah.
And some of them don't necessarily know how to say what they want.
That is true. Yeah.
And honestly, when I've done monitors, like I can't fix what I don't know. Tell me however you can, in colors, however it is. But it's a very tough job.
Yeah, some people call it like the hot seat. I don't like to see it that way. I feel like I think every department is going to have a particular, set of skills that is required by different people in that department. They all accomplish the same thing. They're all trying to make sure everybody's, on point and get whatever they need, right? For me, doing monitors, as long as you pay attention, partially could be a little bit of a psychological thing, skills. There's many engineers who have incredible engineering skills, but half the battle at monitors, I feel like, it's a very psychological thing with the artists. You have to gain their trust. You have to, work hard at gaining their trust a lot of times, and that's half the battle, I think.
So since you have been on both sides of the snake, what is your approach? Is your approach to mixing monitors the same it is to mixing front of house?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I do approach it the same.
Okay.
I always try to give sort of an interactive mix, to the artists or to band members. I'm not a set it and forget it type mixer. I like to.
So you're doing the whole time.
Constantly. And if I'm in this case with Enrique, if I'm doing stuff live for him, via snapshots, I have stuff that is happening for band members.
Okay.
Right? Maybe writing solos or panning things or whatever the case may be. But I like to be very active when it comes to mixing. I don't like to set it and forget it, because I don't feel like that's the right approach, because things are changing constantly. Like, I want a little more impact on the choruses. I want to bring up the guitars in the chorus, or push the drums or the kick and snare on certain fills or whatever, or bring up the toms then bring it back down, or things like that. Or maybe a particular cymbal swell, make sure the overheads are there, but then remove them for the rest of that verse maybe, or lower. And it's hard to make it just a static mix.
That's a lot to do with 10 people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't do a lot of that stuff. Doesn't happen for everybody consistently.
Sure.
But for the most part, whoever I'm mixing live, which is usually the singer, right, or
Sure.
the main artist, so they get full-on treatment of delays and reverbs and things changing.
Yeah.
Reverbs getting longer or shorter depending if it's a fast tempo song, slow tempo song.
Yeah.
So all those things make a difference. They may not know why, but it's just more pleasant to them.
You talked a little bit about panning left to right, and I do see something back there that I don't normally see. Looks like you got Clang up there.
I do, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Clang, how that works, and what that is.
I recently introduced it to our show. It's still a work in progress, to be honest. I've been very fortunate to have Caesar, who is Ricky Martin's monitor engineer, and Matt Holden, who's doing Pitbull, who have been using it for a long time now, and I consult with them quite a bit. But for the most part, right now, currently Enrique and a band member is using it, and I have other ones ready to be deployed. And the reason I say it's a work in progress is because Clang was not designed to be used on this console, which is the Avid SXL. It's basically designed to be used on the digital console because the infrastructure is built into the board. Right? So for me to be able to use it here is a little convoluted, but I have to route a bunch of things in a different way. And then I end up using like a separate controller to run the mixes, which in this case I have like a PreSonus Fader Port 16.
Oh, cool.
But so I'm mixing on, an Avid XXL, and I got a PreSonus on the side.
Just need some foot pedals as well.
That's right. I should, right? That's the next thing. But so it's fully integrated, but not with everybody yet. But it's a work in progress. We're trying to integrate it more as we go because it does help. It does create a lot of space in the mix. I'm usually fairly decent at creating space with just stereo imaging and mid-side EQs and all those kind of things. But Clang is a different animal. It just kind of really truly creates more space in the intermix, which is kind of cool. Which is why I'm actually sticking with it for now to see how far I can take it, even if the integration is not 100%.
Yeah.
To see if it's worth it for me to stick with it. But so far it's been doing really well.
Can you walk us through what you're using?
Yeah, I have an SXL 32. That's my Surface. Running Waves plugins. I got Waves, Mac DSP. Oak Sound Soothe Live, Empirical Labs. Those are the Titan Wave servers. I don't know, you guys won't be able to see them, but they're right there. There's a Clang conductor. I'm running everything via snapshots. Some songs have just a single snapshot just to recall the starting point of the song, and that's it. Others have 2, 3, 4 snapshots where there's changes happening. There's either automation on gates opening for toms or like I said, writing solos, turning up a particular background vocal on a particular part of the song. It could be even, I might turn up a lick on a particular part of the song for someone because maybe it's just a cue that they need for that, right? And then these snapshots get recalled via time code.
Oh, cool.
And then via MIDI, the snapshots that get recalled via time code trigger the snapshots in Clang. So it's all kind of running together.
Interesting. So does it the panning change for Clang based upon the snapshot?
I have, the positions are not automated. The only thing that I have automated are the levels on whoever's using Clang. So just like I do here. So whoever's using Clang, if a particular song, they have click to start, but then they don't have it on the remaining of the song, then those things are happening. But the positions are recall safe. Once I have the positions where I want things, I've left them there.
Got it. So that's almost a set forget. Whereas
pretty much just that part is in, forget it, because I don't want it to keep changing positions.
Yeah, that'd be.
It could be distracting, but also because, like I said, I'm sort of introducing it now, and I have so many other things to worry about than to keep recalling positions, and sort of it might confuse the performer. For now. Once if this was to, and this goes for Clang and everybody, if you guys were to integrate it a little bit differently or more kind of like you do with a digital console to this board, I might be able to do more things like that where I can automate positions, more efficiently. Right now, like I said, it's a work in progress. So. So Clang there, all these snapshots that get recalled and have some form of automation for anybody who's on stage or Enrique. And all recall via timecode and MIDI. Pro Tools, which via ABB or Cat5 connection is connected to the console, and I can record every show. I come back, listen to it the next day, fine-tune certain things if I need to, or if a band member say, last night I wanted to hear maybe a little less of this, can you make that change for me? And I don't just make the change necessarily just by doing it and storing it. I usually like to hear it to see if it was an issue of maybe, the level drops. So maybe let's go check the source. Let's go check that maybe the pedal board didn't change patches too early or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because once you start making changes, then you could fall into this whole rabbit hole of changes and never stop. So I want to make sure it's not coming from the source.
Okay.
And then we'll make any edits that they want, which is pretty easy. And I usually like to monitor it by listening back with virtual sensor, which is very helpful. You know?
Okay. I see some wireless Workbench over there.
Yes.
What are we using for? Obviously, wireless Workbench means you got some Shure going on.
Yes, everything's Shure. Everything we use is Shure. PSN 1000 for in-ears. Accent Digital with ADX 2 for handhelds, ADX 1 for instruments. We're running ShowLink. Our RF coordinator for the whole tour is Stephanie Van Ravensway. She was here a second ago. She just walked away, but she's pretty great. So she's taking care of coordinating for the whole tour. And yeah, so it's been working pretty solid for us and never really had any issues, and it's been great. So yeah.
Okay, capsules?
Capsules, DPA capsules, de factos for Enrique.
Okay.
And everything else is, beta 58.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I have a question.
Yes.
What is that? What is
Oh,
this?
this is just a Bluetooth keyboard that controls.
Oh, that is cool.
It controls 3. You can just choose,
Does
like
it
right
fold?
now. It folds, yeah, it closes. And you just choose, like, one is my laptop, so I can start, See, I just started that. If I go 2 is Clang, and then, 2 is my Shure. So in case I need to go and see the mouse is moving on the Shure screen. And then in case I need to, because there's different tabs that Stephanie has created, if I want to monitor the backline wireless, I can just see it because the racks are over there, so I can't really see them. And then if I hit 3, then you'll see that the mouse, it's just connected, the mouse is over here.
And that's called the iClever?
Yeah, and it just kind of just folds. It has a little case for it.
Look how cool that is.
And that was actually
that is awesome.
That was a recommendation from also from Caesar, who makes his monitors for Ricky Martin. He had one, and he recommended it to me. I was like, oh, I gotta get one.
Oh, that is cool. I think I'm gonna get one of those too.
It has a trackpad too.
That is really cool.
Right click, left click. It has everything.
All right.
And it's very compact, so that's why I keep it here.
A couple more questions for you.
Yes, sir.
What do you feel like is some of the biggest mistakes that new engineers make mixing monitors?
Mistakes. I don't know if a mistake, but just they kind of take for granted the artist portion of it. I think a lot of times you hear, even from colleagues doing this professionally, not necessarily anybody who's a beginner, they would always dismiss if an artist says, hey, it sounds a little bit like this to me, can you make it brighter? And they're like, oh my God, it's so bright already.
Yeah.
Why would they want it brighter? Well, there's this, you just can't ignore them. There's a reason why they're saying it, right? And I've learned throughout the years that whether they know how to explain it or not, there's always something that is going to be truthful to that.
Yeah.
You just got to find what it is. Our job is to interpret what they're trying to say. There's artists who say, the more eclectic ones might say, like, hey, I kind of wanted to be a little more blue or purple or whatever. and then you move a knob, they go, oh, that's it. And then now I know that purple means maybe take out some low mids, maybe. I don't know. Whatever worked for that artist. You can keep a log of whatever. Everybody's different. But, more than anything, not ignoring them, because, we're standing on this position and we're not the ones singing. One of the things that I do, and we don't do it lately because we're down to line check. We don't necessarily sound check anymore. But one of the things I do, I kind of go and sing a little bit with the band to hear the closest thing that Enrique will hear. PA is on, I'll walk the runway and everything, and I'm on his pack with his mic, right? And I'm just listening to everything, and it sounds very different than when I'm not singing. When I'm not singing, his vocal might sound bright to me.
Yeah.
But once he's singing, because of the occlusion effect, for him it's the right amount of brightness. But for me, it might sound too bright here while I'm not singing.
That's
right?
good.
So those are things to keep in mind. Never dismiss what the artist is telling you. There's got to be something that is true, whether they knew how to explain it or not. Like, just investigate. Just find a reason why they feel like there's too little of them, or there's too much of them, or sometimes, it's like, I can't hear myself. Well, don't keep turning it up. Maybe turn everything else down a little bit. Like, just find ways to to engage with them, and then while doing that, you're building trust.
Yeah.
You know, and once they trust you, all they have to do is turn around and look at your stage left, and go, okay, it's going to be a good night. I'm going to be fine. You know, remember that it takes a lot of, you know, courage to just get on stage and sing in front of thousands of people. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, every artist will have some insecurities. Every artist will be worried about something, and they're human just like we are. They have maybe a concern. They have a family member in the hospital, whatever it may be, and their insecurities will come out here. So if you can assure them that everything's going to be fine and you got their back and everything, you start building that trust. And that's half the battle of monitors, because mixing engineers, there's many who are great, but the ones who know how to speak to an artist and know how to handle an artist, those are too far in between. Yeah.
Well, if people want to follow you on social media or follow your career, where can they follow you at?
Well, I'm on, I guess not all of them. I don't even know if I'm on TikTok at this point. I might have signed up for TikTok because of my kids, but I'm Brujo Caipo on Instagram, you know, right?
Okay.
So and it should be 80 Caipo on Facebook.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your
Thank you,
time.
man. I appreciate it.
Look forward to listening to the show.
Thank you. See you.